Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zerl. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick. Jeff Lasseter and Josh Adams is joining us, our old co-host. He's back for it's our 600th episode, so welcome back, Josh, for this one.
Good evening, gentlemen, and I'm happy to be part of the I Hate Critics podcast again for the first time. I still love critics, though. I can't quit you guys.
This is going to be not your normal format because it is episode 600. I know we haven't really promoted that it's coming up, but that's kind of how the show rolls. But before we get there, Sean, where can people get your reviews?
You can find me at geeks.media, horror.media, as well as, of course, the archive blog, sean@themovies.blogspot.com.
And Jeff, where can people find you?
All my links and everything are at jefflasseter.com.
All right.
And your piece this week on the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that was amazing looking.
Thank you. I'll post it on the page. I worked really hard on that one. That was for a convention that got canceled locally. And so I just kind of let it sit. But I had to fill a quota for my printer for some stuff this weekend for Days of the Dead. And I was like, let's see if we can finish that. So I stayed up until about 2 o'clock in the morning finishing that the night before.
Nice.
So,
and Josh, do you have anything you want to promote?
Nope. Not at all. Thankfully, I'm not pressured with running a business or having to promote my brand at this point or anything. I'm just me, as I always have been. Josh, plain and tall.
Awesome.
that's Josh.
You know where all our social media links are. You know where you can listen to the podcast. So I'm not going to go into it this week. Patreon.com/criticspod. If you want to help the podcast out, that's the best way to help. We're going to start this week by going through the 4 new movies, and then we're going to just throw the format to the wind and just hang out with Josh, catch up with him, maybe play some Flick Chart. We'll just see how it all plays out. But to start the show, there's a new Hunger Game movie.
Yeah, I guess there is a new Hunger Games movie. Do you want to skip the news? Or?
Oh, there's news?
Well, yeah,
there's news.
Okay.
You go first, Sean.
Well, yeah, we talked about it recently, and I know Josh was commenting on this on the Facebook page as well about Coyote versus Acme. We got the good news on that it is going to be sold to another company, and this week they're showing it to 4 of the streamers to see if they'll start placing bids on it this week. So hopefully that movie gets moved along to somewhere that it will actually allow it to be seen. But now we have a new, rather unprecedented movie hitting the shelf. The Bike Riders with Tom Hardy and Austin Butler was set to be a big awards contender. It was a $40 million movie that was made by a Disney offshoot, and now Disney says, we're not going to release this. They've decided to sell it off, and they're kind of waiting to see who might buy it. At the very least, I mean, if this were Warner Discovery, they'd just throw it on a shelf and take a $30 million tax rebate on it, but Disney is going to let somebody else buy this at the very least. But it's kind of surprising. They've already put out trailers. They've already put out advertising for this movie. They were even looking at an Academy run, and now they've apparently just decided, nope, we're just going to get rid of this.
God.
Is there any insight as to why?
No clue. Everybody who's seen it out of the festivals earlier this year had high praise. Some people were saying this is a star moment for Austin Butler, even bigger than his Elvis performance. So I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get quite what their plan is here or why they decided to abandon it. It's a weird one. Wonder if they know something we don't about one of the stars or the director or something. Is somebody going to get arrested in the next couple of weeks? I don't know. That's the question right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What else do we got?
Yeah.
Well, big news in the horror community tonight. Melissa Barrera, who played Sam Carpenter in the Scream reboot franchise, has been fired for pro-Palestinian tweets or social media posts, I think on Instagram. And Christopher Landon, who is directing this one, he also directed Happy Death Day. He made a statement tonight that said, "This is my statement, a broken heart emoji, everything sucks, stop yelling, this was not my decision to make." So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, she's literally the star of the franchise at this point. No talk so far as to whether this is just a rumor. The Hollywood Reporter picked it up, but they pick up a lot of crap lately. People are saying that, oh, it's like Gina Carano, and it's not. It's, she's not hating on anybody. She's just calling it a genocide. So yeah, I don't know where the pieces are going to land on this. If the other stars are going to stand in solidarity and start doing the same thing, no idea. But everybody is freaking out about it in the horror community.
It's interesting because I'm sure the makers of Scream, as much as you've described, as much as she has been the star of the franchise, they'll just say that The Mask is the real star of the franchise, and that you can make this movie with any group of actors, which they'll probably do.
That's what she did that's what they did when Neve Campbell said, "No, pay me what I'm worth." They're like, "Well, she's not really the star. It's the Ghostface is the star." But this is a lot of stuff has been happening around people speaking out pro-Palestine. Susan Sarandon got dropped by her talent agency. There's a lot of both, I don't know, like Susan, Sarah Silverman and Amy Schumer and Noah Slap and all those guys, they posted some really strong stuff against Palestinians and no consequences. Melissa Brannon, Melissa Barrera, Susan Sarandon, a couple other people post pro-Palestinian, not pro-Hamas content, and they're gone. So I don't know. It's
really doesn't do much for that whole Jewish people run Hollywood thing.
Well, and
you said it, not me.
You were thinking it.
I was going to make a Mel Gibson comment, but you jumped ahead of it for me. So. Thank you.
Her quote, I'm looking at it now. Melissa Barrera said, "Gaza's currently being treated like a concentration camp, cornering everyone together with nowhere to go, no electricity, no water. People are still silently watching it all happen. This is genocide and ethnic cleansing." I know a lot of people, Jewish and Gentile, who happen to agree with that. But I don't know. It's not for me to say, but it looks like they're just pissed. And she said no. She did post, "At the end of the day, I'd rather be excluded for who I include than included for who I exclude." So it looks like it's real.
Good for her. Take a stand.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, but I'm glad she did.
I personally, I was not a fan of her character, but I think she's a decent actress. I think she was good in The Heights. I wasn't a fan of that character, but I think it's ridiculous that something like this is happening. So
absolutely. All right, how do we transition out of this one?
There's a new Karate Kid movie coming out.
I did hear that. Yeah, Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan teaming up to bring those two Karate Kid universes together. There were some people saying, "Oh, how are you going to do this? Jackie Chan can't play Mr. Miyagi. He was never playing Mr. Miyagi." Guys, he was not Mr. Miyagi. He was Mr. Han. So it's a different character. So this is not a multiverse. Don't worry.
Wait, is Jaden Smith going to be in it?
No, nobody talks to Jaden Smith.
Okay.
Does Cobra Kai not exist in this world? The show.
I would assume that they're going to have to try and figure out a way for that to be part of this. That show is coming to an end after 6 seasons. Whether or not, William Zabka will be part of this movie, I don't know, but they will probably have to explain it somehow. But they're doing a nationwide casting search. So if Bob is the father of a young child, Josh is the father of a young child, throw them out there. They could be the next Karate Kid.
Oh, hell, you know how limber I am. So, my God, get me in the ring. Actually, you know what? This would be an excellent time to finally kick Mike Barnes' ass. And any of you remember Karate Kid 3? Even as a 10-year-old, I wanted to kick his ass. So this is my chance to do a Bob stint where he threatens Liam Neeson or Denzel Washington or whatever. This is me threatening this guy.
Do you watch Cobra Kai, Josh, or not really?
I have watched 3 seasons of it, so I'm not caught up or anything. But I'm a
Barnes
fan of it. I thought it was... What's that?
Mike Barnes comes back.
No kidding.
You gotta watch all of them. Now you're gonna be very disappointed because he just kind of pops up and goes away. But
all right, well, if the thing is, I enjoyed it enough to warrant watching the rest of it. And I might be the only dude that enjoyed the Jackie Chan Karate Kid movies. So because my revisit of that franchise once Cobra Kai came out and the 30th anniversary of Karate Kid happened, I really went back and enjoyed it for what it was. So having another film that kind of, I don't know, wraps things together, maybe it ties it up really nicely. Maybe it spawns something else. I'm sure that would be the case. If it were successful, Sony would say, okay, now we're going to do a bunch of these instead of Cobra Kai. Regardless, if they do it right, then, and it has the spirit of what John Avildsen originally did, then I'm all for it.
Oh, it's a famous IP, so of course they're making another one. Why wouldn't?
Well, of course they are. Sony will milk that until the cow falls dead in the field.
I think it's about to fall with the last season of Cobra Kai, though. So we'll see how they go on. All right, now do we move to the new movies, or do we have more to talk about?
Sure, why not?
There's a new Hunger Game movie.
Yes, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, directed by Francis Lawrence and starring Tom Blythe and Rachel Zegler, tells the backstory of President Snow, Donald Sutherland's character from The Hunger Games. Tom Blythe plays the young Snow and tells his backstory about how he became the man who becomes President Snow. This is a disappointing film. The Hunger Games was such a great franchise in the first place because it had a strong perspective about the poor versus the rich. It had a perspective about revolution and call it, and as much as it was a mainstream YA blockbuster, it was a blockbuster that had a brain to it, and so much of that brain was coming from Jennifer Lawrence's performance. She was so great as Katniss. She grounded that character in a way that made sense. That certainly made sense with the political perspective of the franchise, and without that, you're just kind of left with this movie that's just sort of there. Tom Blythe, especially, is just not nearly in the league of a Donald Sutherland. He's a blank slate. He's a very empty performer, and I just was not compelled by him in any way. Rachel Zegler plays Lucy Gray, who is the tribute that gets assigned to Snow. He's going to be her mentor in the 10th annual Hunger Games, and he's motivated by the fact that if he can get a good performance, he can win something that'll get his family out of poverty. So he's compelled to connect with her, and they end up falling in love of sorts until the third act, and then they're just not in love anymore, I guess, because that's just a decision that the screenplay makes. It's very odd. I thought this was disappointing. I guess I can't say disappointing. I don't know what I was expecting out of this, but I wanted more than what this is. I think the movie looks great. I think Francis Lawrence is a good director who has a strong eye for production design and good nose for action. But the characters just aren't there. As much as Rachel Zegler brings a lot of color to the performance, and Peter Dinklage and Viola Davis are each just giving it everything that they have. Viola Davis going completely over the top. It's still with Tom Blythe at the center. It's very empty. And I don't want to put it all on him. He's not a terrible actor. He's not the worst actor. He's just not great in this particular role. He just doesn't have the presence necessary to communicate the character of Snow. And this backstory is kind of weak, considering where we know we end up with that character.
Now, I seem to remember when we briefly talked about it, Jeff said, I hope this is better than the book. Was it?
No, it was not. The only thing that elevated this above the book was Rachel Zegler. She has so much screen presence, and she is such a good singer, and she even does a Southern kind of Appalachian accent well. Honestly, at first it was a little jarring, but she was really good in the part. The songs were really well done. Viola Davis ate in this role. She ate everything. But like Sean just said, Tom, like, it's just, he's a cipher. There's nothing there. I'm in this movie. I've never seen him in anything else, so I can't compare it. But this story doesn't need to be told. It seemed to be a way to sell more books and now sell more movies. It was kind of like, I was a huge fan of the Harry Potter movies, and I think that, and the books, unfortunately. But a big part of that was the cast and who they cast in different parts. And same with the Hunger Games. It was the cast and everybody was so good in them. But when they came out with Fantastic Beasts, it just seemed like a cash grab. And it turns out it was, and I didn't enjoy those at all. And I don't know if it was the cast or what, but that's the same thing with this. It's just some good performances, but the story sucks. It just sucks, and it's boring, and it takes way too long. And there's no real intrigue, because you know how it's going to turn. You know who he's going to turn out to be. And I'm always the one who says, if it was shorter, I think if the book and the movie had been another trilogy, I would have actually enjoyed that more, because you could have followed his machinations from, the poor son of disgraced family to the president. And now it just seems like, well, we got to just cram all that into one book / movie. And they're the same thing. They don't deviate at all.
I got to take issue though with this whole thing about the romance of this movie. Like, the central romance between Snow and Lucy Gray is so abruptly ended, and it makes no sense. Like, at one point they're running off together, and then the next minute, I think he might have killed her. I don't know. The movie is very vague about where the story ends, and it's really a bizarre series of choices at the end that really takes an already not great experience and just turns it into something that borders on severely bad. If it weren't for Peter Dinklage and the soundtrack, I would say that this is kind of a bad movie, but it's more of a mediocre movie overall. And that's really where I land on it. It's highly produced mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
No,
go
ahead.
I was just going to say, in the book that explains what, like, did he kill her or did he not, or what happened? It's better explained in the book, but it's still not satisfying. And unless you can hear everybody talking in this one scene, you don't understand what's going on with her at the end of the movie. So
I did not see it. Josh, I'm assuming you didn't either. You were a fan of the franchise, though. Were you looking forward to this one?
Well, I may be misquoting myself, or you may not be remembering. I'm not a fan of this series, and in fact, the first one bored me. The second one, which I I couldn't get into the theater because it was so darn popular. They sold out at Regal back when it came out. I only saw Mockingjay Part 1 and said, I'm done. I just have no interest in continuing. There's a lot of little Josh-isms about the franchise that drew me away from it, including things like the font of the franchise. So, don't mind me. I'm just the kind of guy you don't want to ask about.
That's what we needed. We needed a font comment. That's what we brought here.
The font. They used, out of all of the artists in the world who could literally create a font for them, the book has an entirely created font that they could have used, but no. They used the same one as X-Men Origins Wolverine and went with that. I mean, screw the Hunger Games. No offense. I love the fact that everybody else.
All right. Where do we want to go next? You want to go next goal wins, the holdovers, or do you want to
because it's I'm the only one who saw this, right? So yeah. Next Goal Wins, directed by Taika Waititi and starring Michael Fassbender, is based on a true story of a guy by the name of Thomas Rongen, who was a Dutch soccer coach who was controversial. He was angry. He was kind of the Bobby Knight of soccer, if you will. He liked to throw chairs and throw tantrums and gets himself fired. And his only option is to take a job with the worst soccer team in the world, that of American Samoa, not to be confused with the independent nation of Samoa. They're two different things. American Samoa is a tiny little island that is kind of like Puerto Rico. It's a part of the United States, but not a part of the United States. They have their own soccer team, and they've never scored a goal. Their most famous aspect is that they got beat 31-0 in World Cup qualifying play back in 2002. That is their claim to fame. So the fun here is that they set the bar so very, very low to start. Like, they're not even trying to win a game; they just want to score a goal. That's the only thing that he's got to teach these guys, is how to score one goal in international competition. This movie is very sweet. It's very it's very funny. It's a very warm movie. It's a sports film that has a pretty easy to determine outcome, but also because the stakes are so low, that doesn't really matter. So you can focus on these characters. And one of the wonderful characters in this movie is played by an actress named Kamana, who is a trans actress. And this is based on a true story. There was a trans player on the American Samoa soccer team who has gone on to become an advocate for trans sports worldwide. And it's really, this is just a wonderful performance. There are so many great things about American Samoa. They don't see trans people the way that so many people do. They look at trans people or just gay people in general in American Samoa as just a part of the cultural fabric. It's just it makes the world a little bit more interesting, and that is such a wonderful way to treat that. And so when she's on the soccer team, nobody blinks an eye. There's no controversy about it. They welcome her. She's part of the team. She's the team captain, and just seeing that is just so heartwarming. It's so beautiful, and this movie really handles that well. Taika Waititi is a very good director, and this is a very slight movie, but it's a very fun, sweet, funny movie.
No, I like Taika's movies generally, but I did not get a chance to go see this one. Did anybody else see Next Goal Wins?
I tried.
Yeah. What about the Holdovers?
With I'm sorry. With Fassbender as the lead, though, that definitely draws me to it. And last night, I almost clicked on Rent for Jojo Rabbit, just to kind of finally see that and see Taika stuff that isn't Thor Ragnarok, etc.
Oh, you haven't seen Jojo Rabbit?
No, not that. Not Hunt for the Wilder People.
Mute his mic. Mute his mic. Mute his mic.
Hit Rent.
That's one of
Jojo
Ben's
Rabbit.
favorite movies, though, actually. So he's been recommending it to me for some time.
That's cool. The Holdovers.
The Holdovers is directed by Alexander Payne, best known, of course, for Sideways, among many other brilliant films, and starring Paul Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, and a young man named Dominic Sessa. The story goes that Paul Giamatti is a character he's a teacher at a prestigious academy called Barton Academy. That's his entire personality and his entire life. He's very mean. He takes things very, very seriously and is prepared to fail his entire class if he feels like it. He's the most hated teacher in school. He ends up having to stay during the holidays because, well, he wasn't going anywhere anyway. He doesn't have a life. And he ends up having to watch over 5 kids who are called the Holdovers, kids who don't have any place to go during the holidays. But 4 of those kids will actually find a place to go during the holidays, and we'll be left with one, which is played by Dominic Sessa. And they're going to bond. Now, this sounds a little bit easy and familiar, but there are themes here that Alexander Payne is playing on that he's played on in pretty much every one of his movies, and that is finding people who are in this comfortable rut that they would very much like to stay in and pushing them out of that rut and into the world where they have to experience things and take risks and feel things that maybe they don't want to feel. And that is really a strong theme that perhaps when it comes to Alexander Payne, this might be his best expression of that particular theme of getting people out of their comfort zone. And the way that avoiding pain can be just as painful as pain itself. Trying to hide from the world is nearly impossible, and that's the message here, and it's a really good message. It really plays out incredibly well. Divine Joy Randolph is the school cook, and she has family that she could have gone home to. She's the head cook. She could have assigned somebody else. She stayed because her son has recently died in Vietnam in 1970, and her sister, who she was going to see, is about to have a baby. She feels like, obviously, that reflects she just lost her child. Her sister is welcoming a child. That is a very difficult, emotional situation. And her trying to figure out a way to get past that, to be happy for her sister. Again, that's just part of this wonderful journey. And Divine Joy Randolph should be nominated for Best Supporting Actor and Actress and even win. She's just that brilliant in this movie. Paul Giamatti also, obviously, Dominic Sessa could also be in the running for Academy Award nominations. And this is, some of Alexander Payne's best work. I mean, honestly, maybe his best since Sideways.
And I've heard that, everybody thinks Oppenheimer is going to win the Oscar. Maybe The Killers of the Flower Moon, but this could be the sleeper that comes through and wins the whole thing. Is that a possibility?
It's a possibility. I don't think it's the best movie of the year. I think I think it's a very good movie. I think it ranks pretty high for me, but it's not Past Lives or Beau is Afraid, which I think are the 2 best movies of the year. But it's a solid, well-made movie. And like I said, it's the best that Alexander Payne has made in a while. And considering Alexander Payne is very, very good, that says a lot.
Have I seen Past Lives? I feel like
you should see Past Lives.
Oh, but I haven't yet. Okay.
Everyone should see Past Lives. It's incredible.
Oh, you're right.
I actually have pushed it ahead of Beau is Afraid as my favorite movie of the year.
Cool.
Ooh, controversy.
I know.
Well, you haven't seen Thanksgiving yet, though. That's. Jeff, you want to take on Thanksgiving?
Man, this movie was great. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Thanksgiving is it's kind of the remake of the trailer that Eli Roth did for the Grindhouse release, 16 years ago?
Sure.
That was one of the fake trailers that ran between Planet Terror and Death Proof. I think we're down to like 1 or 2 trailers that haven't been made into actual movies. Machete.
Anyway, the zombie one.
Yeah. It's the story of in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Takes place at Thanksgiving a year ago. It's kind of when it starts, and the local pseudo Walmart is opening on Thanksgiving, and there's a mad crowd. Basically, they break through the barriers. People are trampled to death, and a year later, everybody is kind of hoping it doesn't, they're not going to be open, and people start being murdered by somebody in a John Carver mask. John Carver was the first mayor of the Plymouth colony from the Mayflower, and he's a big deal in this town. Well, somebody puts on a John Carver mask and goes to carving. It's a throwback to 80s slashers, that the Halloween, Friday the 13th style, holiday slashers. It's just so much fun. It's got a great cast. You want to talk about it, Bob, and then I'll come back and gush some more.
Eli Roth nailed the tone, which I think is something he's missed on other movies. But it's the perfect amount of fun, gross, and I don't know, the whole thing. It's the best thing he's ever done by a lot.
Yeah,
I think Sean would have liked it. I really think he would have. It really is that much fun.
Yeah, this is the most fun I've had in a horror movie in a long time.
Probably since Terrifier 2 for me, where Sean and I went to Peoria for it. It's that good.
Interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't hate women in this one, I promise.
Yeah, it's just balls to the wall. It's just like once it starts, it keeps going. There's no real downtime in it. A lot of the moments, the best moments from the fake trailer, are in this. There's lots of decapitations and blood and what you want from a slasher movie.
Yeah, it's what torture.
Also,
porn
it has a
should
cameo
be.
by Lynn Griffin.
Yes, it's what torture porn should be. Anyway, those are the new movies this week. It is episode 600. We got Josh back. Josh, what have you been up to? What have you been watching?
Well, in terms of movies, I just kind of went back a couple of months to see what have I watched that's been new. And I mean, the list actually got pretty long. I've been using the Letterboxd app, and I'm not sure if any of you have been doing that yourself. But since I've gotten into it, it's really created a pretty good truncated database of what I've seen, and I'm able to make lists and create something of a diary. I already do such a thing with movie tickets. I keep something of a diary with that, but this is a good way to use it. So in the past couple months, I've seen things like the typical ones that I would see, like the Marvels, of course, and The Killer, of course. But also I've gone back and filled in some gaps with like Renfield and 30 Days of Night, going really far back, stuff that I hadn't seen before. Color Out of Space,
Yes.
which was wild. Just absolutely wild. And I still don't quite know what took place. All I know is that it was very visually interesting. Game Night, and I don't know if you guys remember that comic from a few years ago. Yeah, that was actually a hell of a lot of fun. And at the end of it, my son looks at me and says, "So you're basically just Jason Bateman all the time," which was a compliment, but also I get exactly what you say. And another one that I'll mention just off this list, a couple. Don't Breathe, I watched last night for the first time. And whoa, I was actually kind of surprised by how hard that one went. It makes me feel even stronger about the Fede Alvarez Alien movie that's coming out next year. And last I'll mention Skinamarink. Now, this is such a divisive movie, and some people just absolutely hate it. Now, Jeff, I've already talked to you about it. I know that you hate it. And I understand exactly why you do it. We talked about it at length. But my son was just kind of effusive about it and said that it was the first movie that had bothered him in such a long time. And he's such a horror fanatic now. It's pretty much exclusively what he watches. For something to affect him, I figured, all right, I hate that word. I hate that stupid little kid's song. There was no way I was going to see this movie unless somebody important to me recommended it. And I did, and I had a pretty similar experience to him, which is wild. I think it has a lot to do with how it reminded me of my childhood. The house that it was filmed in, despite the overly pregnant pauses. I mean, this movie was pregnant with triplets in terms of pauses, just holding the camera on certain shots. It affected me pretty deeply, actually. And it sticks with me, actually, a little bit. And of all of the films I've seen in the past 3 months, I would say that I enjoyed The Killer and Game Night the most, and Skinamarink is right up there. In terms of one that I enjoyed the least that I saw, I would say 65. I finally got to that Adam Driver strange science fiction thing, whatever the hell is going on there. And let's see. I got to Whiplash again for the first time since Bob and Sean and I watched it in Sean's apartment way back when. And I found myself getting so mad at the film again, just how terrible J.K. Simmons is to Miles Teller. And I think my son saw a new side of me. He finally saw outwardly and viscerally how much I cannot stand bullies. And I got mad at the movie, but he loves that movie so much. It's in his top 5. And he gives it 5 stars and everything. And it just makes me wonder, is he growing up to be the Miles Teller? Is he going to be great at something in particular? Or does he have something that he sees in J.K. Simmons? Anyways, that's kind of the lineup of what I've seen over the past couple of months. And I miss being at the theater all the time. So hard. And since we last talked, Regal closed in Moline. And that was, I mean, these places are pieces of our life. They're cathedrals in their own particular way. And I felt pretty similar about Regal that I did with Showcase Cinemas in Milan. And it's not like this is unique to our area. I get that. But I really am going to miss that theater. I'm going to the AMC in Galesburg exclusively now. Have their the A-list plan so that you can pay a little bit and then see up to 3 each week. And my son is getting absolute value out of that. But movie watching has changed now. You know, I've got to make a commitment to drive a half hour if I want to go see something brand new. Part of the reason I have that plan is to encourage me to use it. And I'm really just trying to fill in gaps, stuff that you guys have recommended. Specifically, I'll go to your podcast first if I'm trying to get the vibe on something, because all 3 of you bring a different perspective to the table, of course. But it's been such a weird last year without theater.
Well, and you know, I thought I was going to get away without having to see Skinamarink. Now I might have to. I was just going to take their word for it. Have you heard our episode about The Killer yet?
I haven't listened to that one yet. No,
Have you read Sean's
going
review?
Back all the way to March to catch up for this year. But go ahead.
Have you read Sean's review of it at all?
No, I haven't.
Do you think it's a comedy?
It could very well be considered a comedy. When I was watching it, I said across the room, hey, kiddo, if you really want to know what American Psycho is like, basically take the tone of this one and, maybe amp it up a bit. That was how I felt at a lot of times watching this, that it was a less explosive performance out of Fassbender, not a lot of over-the-top stuff, but also still the same dry humor. And there were spots that I laughed that I probably shouldn't have been laughing at.
Yeah.
Classic Fincher sense of humor.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that conversation with Sean. I thought we had a little fun with that one, and I'm curious your opinion. Let me know around April or May when he gets it.
Now, Josh, I got to ask, how did you feel about the Marvels?
I liked Marvels. Walked in with all of the knowledge of the vitriol, and you guys have known me for quite a while now, and you know that. I just freaking said it. I don't like bullying, and really, it's a fine movie. I don't see literally anything wrong with it. It just doesn't necessarily break a mold with superhero films. It doesn't necessarily make me say, gosh, I'm going to put that one right alongside the Dark Knight trilogy or Wonder Woman or Spider-Man No Way Home or something like that I have really high up on the superhero list. But that being said, I don't find anything literally objectionable about it at all. And so from my perspective, being that hateful about it and rooting for the failure of it is very specific to these three actresses and very specific to a particular thing that isn't harming anyone, aka having three women lead a movie in a display of sisterhood. That's really what they're pissed off about. And I don't know, it's reaching sort of a breaking point, don't you think? The whole bullshit bullying thing, and enjoying the failures of the quote unquote woke agenda. Mm-hmm. Everything that somebody doesn't like is woke. And if I hear that word one more time, I mean, I'm sure, I know that you guys have talked about that kind of stuff before, but with this one, it seems far more deliberate, the attacks, than any film I've seen.
Well, yeah, I think Sean brought up last week is, like, I'm not going to go see it because I'm superhero and movied out. You guys know that about me. But I can't say that because I don't want to be caught up in the hating it for the same reason the non-woke people are hating it. Sorry, that was just to be annoying.
The thing of it is that there are a lot of people who are like Bob, who are just tired of superhero movies. But somebody was trying to say on social media today that well, you can't say this is based off of hatred of women or anti-feminism or anything, because Barbie is the biggest movie in the world. Barbie is a phenomenon that went beyond its normal audience. It just it's a thing that exists of itself. It's not something that would be definitive of saying that, oh, well, women are acceptable in movies as leads now in hit movies. The bottom line is, with this movie, is that there are so many people who worked very, very hard to make it seem uncool to see a movie with three female leads as superheroes. They made it uncool for little boys to see that, and that has a long-term effect that is severely fucked up. That you're going to tell your boy children not to go see a superhero movie because it has three female leads. That says way too much about our culture. And trying to pretend that that's not true is really just as harmful.
Well, there was still pushback against the Barbie movie. The difference was the Barbie movie was so big, it was like Taylor Swift big, that, that it kind of got drowned out. But that's a stupid comparison.
I think, yeah, you can't make that comparison. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
It's like saying racism doesn't exist because Obama was president.
Exactly. Yes, very much so.
Well, the good thing is, we were spared a 45-minute long Ben Shapiro review on the Marvels, at least, whereas we were not spared for Barbie. So there are some good things that come out of it.
I just like that he did have to buy a ticket for it. So good for him.
Oh, God, that makes me climax.
I like the fact better that the more he does that kind of shit, the more people realize what a fucking idiot he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to see Oppenheimer or Barbie, Josh?
I've seen Oppenheimer, not Barbie yet. I'm looking forward to being able to watch that at home with my girlfriend. I believe it should be on Max at some point, and I have access to Max. If it's not already on there for free, it's on there for pay right now or something like that. But Oppenheimer I really enjoyed. The thing about that one, I don't really find myself going back to that unless I'm interested in the design of Oppenheimer, be it the music, the special effects, camera work, etc. I guess performance-wise, it's all very solid. It's just one of those things where I don't need to see it again. Boy, it was sure loud though, and I enjoyed that one. that AMC that I was talking about, they have a pretty decent sound system. And I sat on the far right side of the theater, right up next to some speakers. And as I was hoping for with a Nolan movie, my brain was blown out the back of my head. That's exactly what I'm hoping for when I go see something for Christopher Nolan. But I'm very much looking forward to Barbie.
Well, it was actually a Christopher Nolan movie I liked, so there's that. Even better.
Josh, well, let's talk about Interstellar again.
No.
Hey, I just got my canvas Interstellar 11x17 poster in yesterday.
Nice.
Sorry, I gotta ask you to unmute, Josh. I'm sorry.
No, I figured that's what happened. I jumped aside a little bit. Bob is muting me, talking about Interstellar.
It's a piece of shit, terrible movie that's made really well.
Jeff,
It gets better every time you watch it.
Jeff, did you like Interstellar?
Oh my God, that movie was the most perfect movie that ever movied. I'm just kidding.
Lies.
That's funny. Any of you joined the A24 club?
No, what's that?
I have no idea. I saw it on Instagram, so I clicked on it, and they sent me a card in the mail today.
Nice.
I don't know what it does, and I got this little book about Brendan Fraser. A24 issue 20.
Let me sign up right now.
And
actually, Bob, does that give you? Does that give you access as a club member to purchase exclusives before the public?
Probably.
Okay, and I asked that because some of these movies that they release, they end up becoming collector's items almost immediately, and the resale value of those is pretty high. So, as a speculator, perhaps that's going to work out for you.
Well, the problem is I don't pay attention, and I just happen to accidentally see this. So by the time something pops up, I mean, I know we've joked about trying to. I don't know. There's been different things from like Midsummer or whatever that go for sale, and then they sell out before you can even buy them. I'll have to get lucky and happen to see it pop up at the right time. But anyway, I'm a member of the A24 club.
Did you get to see any of the big Oscar movies from last year, like The Whale?
I did not see The Whale, but I've heard a couple things about that, and the performances of Fraser, of course, is lauded, but overall the film doesn't hit for some people. And Aronofsky has admittedly, I mean, I've seen everything he's done. It's a real touch and go situation with him. So I'm not drawn to that one like I would be, say, a Fincher movie, despite the skill that Aronofsky has. What did you guys think of it, though? Because I can't remember the overall opinion.
We hated it.
I never saw it because they hated it.
Yeah, Jeff and I really were not fans of the movie, if I recall correctly, Jeff.
Yeah, you do correct.
It's a mean-spirited movie. That's the thing, is that it's as much as it's like Brendan Fraser delivering a pretty incredible performance. The movie is incredibly mean to him, and in that way you were talking about bullying before. It feels like this guy is being bullied for being overweight throughout the entire movie. Like they made a movie to make fun of a fat guy.
Isn't he not a great person, though? I mean, I haven't seen it, so isn't he like an absentee father or something like that?
Yeah, he's not a great person. There's elements of his life that you could absolutely, talk about that are worth, bullying him over, I guess, but not his weight.
Yeah, but again, I haven't seen it. Probably never will, because unless Josh sees it and says, you need to see this movie, it's amazing. They'll be like, okay, fine. One of them said, go watch it.
Highly unlikely. Aronofsky still is responsible for the single most emotional experience at the theater I've had. Seeing Requiem for a Dream by myself at a 10:30 showing at night and having to return back to my dorm room and do homework, feeling like the world is going to end at any moment. I mean, he has the power to make me feel strong emotions, and I don't know. It doesn't sound like something I want to venture into.
Well, yeah, even Mother had us with strong emotions on the episode that week.
Oh,
Right. Jeff brings that up on occasion.
My son has actually seen that by now, and he was like 8 years old when that came out.
Wow.
And yeah, he every once in a while says something about, well, if we can't find anything to eat, I guess we could always seek out a baby like Aronofsky. Okay.
But my nephew saw it, and he was basically he was traumatized. He's in film class now and taking a film course, and they showed Mother, and he's basically wanting to go into therapy.
Speaking of traumatized in therapy, I think the last time I saw you was when we all came out of Beau is Afraid. And
yes,
that has one of the most awkward sex scenes in the world. And you're sitting there next to your, 15-year-old son?
He was officially 16 at the time. 16. He's now 17.
How describe that that emotion in that moment? I guess
I gotta admit,
Mariah Carey here.
He did the brave thing. Afterwards in the car, he says, well, it's not every day that you go to a movie and you deal with something penis or whatever. And I said, all right, I guess this is the kind of relationship we are going to have. Whereas my dad never said the word penis or cock or whatever to me. All of a sudden, he's fine about talking about what we just saw. My mother would cover my eyes if something like that happened. So, yeah, it makes for an awkward conversation. He says that it's the best film he's seen this year. So way to go indoctrinating my child, guys.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to it yet because I don't want to. I don't know that I need to. The experience was enough, but maybe someday I will.
I will say this. It was really neat being there. That seemed like, for an independent film, it really had an event vibe to it. And seeing you guys coming out of the theater, which I didn't know for sure that you'd be there, that was actually a real treat. Yeah. So I don't know if I said it at the time, but it was good to see you all there. The stars aligned.
I wish they would align more often, though, because that was a fun conversation afterwards and a small hangout. And they just not a lot of movies that make you want to all be there at the same time.
It's true.
Very true.
What's Ben?
Yeah, Sean, I actually.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Sean, I actually wish I'd seen Thanksgiving in the same theater as you, as opposed to Hunger Games.
I wish I could have been there with Sean too. Just because I'm curious, because he could have hated it. But there is a level of fun there that I think he would have appreciated.
Well, it's because Eli Roth knows exactly what he's doing,
mm-hmm.
and I listened to his interview with Mick Garris the next day when I was driving to Chicago, and it's like he just loved the idea so much. So, Sean, you got to see it. Even if we don't talk about it on the show, just if you're not doing anything on Thanksgiving, go see it. I might go see it again.
Yeah, he's so. Sometimes that's Eli Roth's problem, is he's too aware of everything. But I think with Thanksgiving he had it perfect.
I'm not boycotting it or anything.
I know.
I was sick this afternoon, so.
Guys, I need to chime in with this. This is very relevant. I thought that Ben had seen Thanksgiving because he had told me that last Friday night when I saw him. He actually was watching Thanksgiving that night.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
That's right. But he says in a text that I just got, no, that was Thanksgiving. I'm actually taking Mom to see Thanksgiving tomorrow night. Listen, my ex-wife, his mother, she is going to absolutely freak out when she watches an Eli Roth film for the first time. So instead of warning him, I'm letting this one go for fun.
And then you need to see it to see some of the things that he's showing her, because you're going to enjoy it that much more. Now it's not even a movie, it's just an experience. That's going to be funny. I just want to start saying things that happen in it, but I won't.
I talked to a lot of people at Days of the Dead this weekend and like said, "Did you see it?" And about half the people I talked to had seen it, and to a person, loved it. Even people who weren't big slasher fans loved it. So I can't say enough good things about it. I want to watch it again on Thanksgiving.
It did well, at least in terms of an Eli Roth movie. It's his highest grossing film since Hostel, so there's that. But and Knock Knock didn't go to theaters, and Green Inferno was a bomb. But this one's
terrible.
Yeah, it is. All of his movies are terrible until now, apparently.
Not the clock movie, the one with clocks on the walls or whatever the hell. We liked that. Okay,
like that? I don't remember. I have no memory of that movie. Honestly,
you were like, you couldn't stop praising it. It was amazing.
Oh, was it? Well, there you go. That's the best Eli Roth movie.
Just kidding.
Josh, of course, the 20th anniversary of a famed movie on this podcast this year, Old Boy, turned 20 this year.
What? No, of course, that has to be the one thing. But actually, over time, I've come to realize that's actually like my personality in a snapshot. And I keep going back to Ben because really at this point, I'm living sort of a film experience through him. It's almost like, watching a kid play sports that you played. He badly wants to watch Old Boy. And I keep telling him, nah, you don't need to. But now that he's 17, like he doesn't have to worry about that at the theater. So why would I stop him? Well, he's still under my roof. So I've been telling him, hey, you know what? There are certain things that you should just wait until college for. You experience with friends and you enjoy them. That's my way of getting around the no situation. So I'm telling him to wait on things that he'll understand better later.
It's your way of saying, Dad, what happened in this? I don't know. No, make him watch Sallow first, and then like Cannibal Holocaust. Then he can go to Old Boy.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit down and watch Sallow with him next
tomorrow's Thanksgiving or Thursday.
That's a perfect.
Show it to the whole family.
Sallow and Hereditary are like the perfect Thanksgiving movies.
And for Christmas, we'll go with a Serbian film.
That's exactly. No, that's Easter.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh my god.
You correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but you rewatched Hereditary and your feelings have changed a little bit about that. Is that accurate? Or
yeah, I should mention that on January 1st of this year, I was actually I won't explain the day I had, but let's just say it's probably one of the three worst days that I've had as a human being. That aside, that night I stayed with my son and we watched Hereditary because I said, I don't know, kid, just put on whatever you want to. And he says, you want to watch Hereditary again? I said, why? Now, from his perspective, he's just like, let's watch a good movie. You say that you've been willing to give it another chance. From my perspective, I'm like, you're just going to go ahead and pile it on. I see. But I don't know if it was the day. I don't know if it was the fact that it was 1 a.m. when we were watching it, but it really got to me this time. It wasn't because I knew the filmmaking was sublime. Let's be honest. I know that Ari Aster is a good filmmaker. I know that he is one of the few movies of his that I've seen that really pay attention so hard that you can the craftsmanship oozes off of the screen. And this time I already knew that one, and I kind of just let it happen a little bit, knowing that twist. Not necessarily. I mean, I think you know what I mean. I was talking about how the film sort of disappointed me originally for being, it is this, it's just this, etc. Knowing that this time, that level of slight disappointment was evaporated. I just let the film happen. And I realized how just tightly wound that whole thing is, watching everybody downward spiral just a little bit until it just leaves their grasp. The whole thing is just, it's like watching somebody clench their fist for 2 hours, and it actually somehow was a bit of a therapeutic watch. And I'm looking forward to maybe someday when I'm feeling like I want to watch good filmmaking, even though it's not necessarily all going to be my favorite. And an Ari Aster day with Midsummer and maybe Beau is Afraid. I come back to it at some point. And whatever shit he pulls out next time that's nightmarish.
Watch his short films. Which I heard they're pretty messed up. But yeah, it turned out to be pretty darn effective this time. And I think it seemed pretty clear to me that if I was wrong on something on the podcast, I wanted to make sure that I admitted it freely, because I'm not a professional. I'm just a guy that watches a lot and has a brain full of useless knowledge. But that one I was wrong about, and I didn't hate it the first time around. I just wasn't, put it number one on my list like you guys were. But this time, I think I really saw it for the high quality that it was, and it did deeply affect me. I was gonna say awesome.
The crawling on the ceiling crawling still that's a problem for me. Whoever does that in a movie, it's always creepy, but that's the best one.
All right, Bob. Now the real reason Josh is here. Let's let him and Jeff talk about Star Wars media for a little bit.
Cool.
Ooh. Let me change my trajectory. I'll go sit in the figure room.
You guys can't see this, but Bob's face right now is priceless.
Well, there's actually a figure room.
Hi, where am I sitting, Bob?
I know.
I've got my revolving Star Wars tree behind me.
But I say that every week. You never just get up and move room to room, depending on the conversation.
This is true.
Yeah, actually, Josh, I was kidding. So no.
Oh, you're kidding? Okay.
All right, I'll go back
No, you go
hang my head and then go back to the table.
No, go ahead. You two, I'm sure there's something you two both do.
So have you guys seen the documentary Sly yet?
Dick.
No, but it actually sounds interesting. I'd love to watch both that and the Arnold one.
Yeah. Back to back.
Yeah, really, however would you watch them other than back to back? Actually, there's Star Wars news today. I'm sure, Jeff, that you saw that Dave Filoni is the chief creative officer for Lucasfilm now. And I mean, that seems to be kind of like a given, but it's nice to see them recognize what he has done thus far. I haven't talked to you, I don't think, about all of Ahsoka yet. Do you have a final thought on that?
Wait, Ahsoka or Rebel season 5?
Okay, see, that's very fair. It basically is Rebel season 5, and we've lost both Bob and Sean. They are gone from the podcast.
Just reading about Brendan Fraser. Sorry.
Bob's reading his Brendan Fraser book.
What is an Ahsoka?
Oh, Sean had the AT-AT when I was growing up, and I was older than him, and I was jealous.
Yeah.
But
no, I love Star Wars. I just don't watch the TV shows.
You should. They're really good, especially Andor, and I like Obi-Wan. I feel like it's just more fuel to the, oh my God, they're going to fire Kathleen Kennedy tomorrow fire. But who puts him in charge is Kathleen Kennedy. It's like all these chuds don't understand that everything you hate about Star Wars is Kathleen Kennedy, but everything you love is Kathy Kennedy. Even, she hires Favreau and Filoni, and that's what everybody wants. So,
yeah, I suppose if she doesn't have a full leading voice on creative decisions, then okay, that probably benefits fans the most, because folks that have been invested in it for years and years and years and years, and it's been on their heads when they go to bed as kids, and then as teenagers they have thoughts about it, and as adults they show their kids these things. These are the people that are making them now, and that sounds great. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm still going to watch it if it's Star Wars. It does not matter. I, for one, am more excited about the next movie in the series, however, than probably anything else, even though Thrawn is on our screen finally. Rey being able to be in another movie with the new Jedi Order. I mean, again, just things that make me climax.
I heard that was happening.
Yeah, Daisy Ridley is coming back to Star Wars.
Bob, what do you think?
Who's Daisy Ridley?
Yeah, we saw that one coming from a mile away.
Is Ben Mendelsohn in any of these movies?
Indeed, he is. This is Daisy Ridley, and eventually I could show you Ben Mendelsohn, but he's got a new figure. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. Jeff, do you have that one yet? You have the new Krennic?
No, I don't have the new Krennic yet. I last week opened up a ton of new figures that I've been just with my last job. I didn't have time to do anything, and then when I quit that job, I was like, oh, I can open my figures. So I am currently waiting to go to my sister's for Thanksgiving to pick up my retro collection Yak Face and Mon Mothma, that I think I might just open the figures. That I was kind of saving all the box sets and whatever, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and open that, because that's the only way I'm getting a Yak Face in my collection at this point. I can't pay $700 for it.
Yeah.
So
you have Cowfoot though. I don't think you do.
Sean, I'm gonna kick your fucking ass.
Prune face, Yak Face, Hammerhead, Walrus Man, aka Vagina Mouth. Stuff like that.
I have
Bob,
all of those.
That was awesome. Bob's face right there. He did like a dog thing where it went, huh?
Are these things real?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Bob, do you want to flick chart
stickers of
now?
all those.
I have 6 Funko Pops.
My new job, where I'm not going to say where it is, but my new job that I started last week, I will have access to toys. So, with a discount.
Well then.
Oh. So I'm going to be broke as hell, but I'm much happier that I'm not going to be on my knees all day. Shut up, Sean and Bob.
Oh, Jeff's going to become Josh's new dealer.
That sounds good. I'll see you in the alley.
Yeah. Let me get my knee pads again. Just kidding.
Well, things that have happened.
Things I'll do for figures.
Since you left, Josh, our flick chart all-time list has changed a little bit, and one time Sean dropped off, so Jeff and I had a little fun as well. So our number 1 movie of all time is Midsommar. Almost Famous is right there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Old Boy is number 4. Everything Everywhere All at Once is number 5, and The Exorcist is number 6. Against Sean's wishes.
That's what you get for leaving early, Sean.
With Beau is Afraid and Hereditary at 7 and 8. Batman is number 9 and High Fidelity 10.
No, I can't see that. Is that the 89 Batman?
I do not know. I'm assuming.
I think so.
Yeah, it is.
I would be amazed if it wasn't. Yes, it is.
I consider myself personally responsible for that, even though it's been over 4 years.
Awesome. Well, guess what we're doing?
Yes! Oh, shit!
Batman or Scream 4?
Oh.
Batman!
I'm going Batman as well.
Yeah, the dog said Batman also, so that totally...
Batman is the better movie, but I love Scream 4. It's one of the better ones in the franchise.
Sean?
Oh, Batman, yeah.
Okay. Batman or 21?
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
Batman.
Ooh, this will be tough for Sean. Batman or Secret of the Ooze? I know.
If you were the first Turtles, it might be a different story, but Batman.
Batman here, although it does lack Vanilla Ice.
Yes.
But it has Prince.
We're stuck with Prince instead of Vanilla Ice. Oh, man. Batman, Silver Linings Playbook.
Batman.
Batman.
I'm going Silver Linings Playbook. I love that movie. Batman Ghostbusters.
Batman.
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 Yeah. Batman 28 Weeks Later.
Batman.
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 Agreed. Batman A Star is Born 2018.
Batman.
Batman.
It's Batman, even though Star is Born was my number one that year.
I'll go with Star is Born. I love that movie. Batman or Goodfellas?
Goodfellas.
Batman.
Batman.
Oh, where's the fucking quarter at? Oh, I'm broke.
And the winner is Goodfellas.
What does your dog say?
Hey, Arnie, would you prefer Batman or Goodfellas? The dog says nothing, so clearly we're undecided.
What did the coin say, Bob?
It says I don't have a coin.
Here, I'll tell you. Heads is Batman, tails is Goodfellas. Batman! Yay!
Yay!
Batman or The Exorcist?
Batman.
Batman.
Exorcist.
Exorcist.
You control the
Sean.
coin, Jeff. Tails it is.
It is tails.
Yes.
Shit.
Batman Hereditary.
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 Batman.
Oh, that's cool. Hereditary it is. Batman High Fidelity.
High Fidelity.
Batman.
Batman.
High Fidelity.
We tied again.
Batman.
It remains, or I guess it knocked. No, it was at number 9 all along.
It was 9. Yeah.
All right, it didn't go anywhere. What a waste of time.
Now we know a little bit more about each other and the dog.
Now let's run Interstellar. No, I'm kidding.
No. As long as it doesn't beat Rocky, I'm okay.
Let's see. How about Old Boy?
Already number 4.
You want to knock it out at number 4?
Yeah.
All right. Old Boy, Scream 4.
Old Boy.
Scream 4.
Old Boy. Did you say Old Boy, Josh?
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to be split a lot with this one. Old Boy,
I'm just going to
21.
keep saying whatever's opposite.
Old Boy.
21. 21.
You not a fan of Old Boy?
I haven't seen it. I told you guys
Oh.
this.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I was just doing this for caution. So
Guess what happens at the end?
nothing here.
Better ask those guys. I still don't fucking know.
Let's do something else then.
All right.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Jeff.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Which one?
Last Jedi.
Really?
Oh, I could do this.
All right, we'll do this one just for fun. Burlesque Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's the only share love I'm getting from Burlesque so Killer Clowns.
I haven't seen Burlesque, but I feel I would still choose Killer Clowns.
Yes. All right. We don't got to do this one. What other movies you want to run through? Anything particular, Josh? What, Sean?
Let's do
I said somebody other than me pick.
All right.
the Birds.
Okay.
I sold a ton of Birds prints this weekend, so it's right there on top of mine.
Yeah, for everything there is a season.
Haha. The Birds Scream 4.
The Birds.
The Birds.
Birds.
Yeah. The Birds
It's
21.
just going to be all the same movies. The
Yeah, it
Birds.
is. The Birds.
Birds.
The Birds Secret of the Ooze.
The Birds.
Birds.
The Birds.
The Birds Blazing Saddles.
That's tough, actually. I love Blazing Saddles. The Birds.
Yeah, The Birds.
Bird.
Yeah. The Birds Fight Club.
The Birds.
I'm going to go Fight Club here.
I'm going to go Fight Club as well.
I'm going to say The Birds because Fight Club, after the first couple times I watched it, it's fine.
All right,
Are we going to
You got the
flip?
coin. Yeah, you got the coin.
Fight Club.
Oh, wow. Thank you, coin. The Birds Raging Bull.
Raging Bull.
The Birds.
Flip it again.
The Birds.
The Birds Notorious.
The Birds.
The Birds.
Birds.
Yes. The Birds Major League.
The Birds.
The Birds.
Shit. I'm choosing Major League.
I mean, I'll take the Birds, but I would watch Major League first. The Birds Clue.
The Birds.
The Birds.
Birds, but I do love Clue.
The Birds Sideways.
Sideways.
The
Bird.
Birds.
All right, flip it.
Oh, The Birds.
The Birds Ghostbusters.
Birds.
The Birds.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters poster.
I'm going to go Ghostbusters as
Bizarre,
well.
right?
Flip it.
The Birds. The Birds.
So, Josh, we were going through Albert Brooks because you had that documentary come out. And I said I would like to take Albert Brooks and put him in all of Bill Murray's movies and see how they would go. What are your thoughts on that?
Can you say that just one more time? That broke up a little bit.
Albert Brooks, I would like to see him replace Bill Murray in all of Bill Murray's movies, except maybe Ghostbusters. Because I actually think they would make better movies. And as much as I love Bill Murray, but I really have a newfound appreciation for Albert Brooks after last week.
That's interesting because I probably wouldn't have considered it nearly as hard unless I hadn't seen Drive in May for the first time. And for whatever, Drive is another one of those polarizing type things, and I absolutely fucking loved it. And Albert Brooks in that is so darn good. I actually think that's not a bad idea, but I'm still a big fan of Bill Murray. And the thing is, he had some of his failures as a professional and a human being are more and more coming to light, and that puts a pretty large stain on it for me. But at the same time, I think you're going more for is Albert Brooks a better Bill Murray than Bill Murray is?
Well,
Am I right
think,
on that?
Yeah, I think Bill Murray's too like Albert Brooks cares more about the ensemble. Well, Bill Murray's more of the, especially in his comedies early on, it's all about Bill Murray. But you throw Albert Brooks in Groundhog Day or Scrooged, and I wonder what those movies look like. Not necessarily Lost in Translation. When Bill Murray at that point was starting to be more of an ensemble guy, but some of his leading roles in the 80s, I think Albert Brooks might have elevated those movies.
In terms of Albert Brooks's his strongest performances, I think he has better strongest performances than Bill Murray does, for sure. But there's one movie that everybody seems to really love but me, and that's something. It's called Defending Your Life, which I know you guys know.
We loved it.
I cannot stand Defending Your Life. That was something that my mom just had on all the time. It was like when you're ready to hear the next song in the car in the 80s and your parents just hit the tracking button rewind again to listen to the same damn song for the 5th time in a row. Defending Your Life was on that many times in my house. Gotcha. And I'm sorry, I just found him as I think a 12 or 13-year-old when that came out. I just found him to be the whiniest little bitch of all time. So the one thing I did take from Defending Your Life is the breakfast buffet that they had there. And I'm always hoping that if there's an afterlife, I can just eat to my heart's content without worrying about, falling over.
Well, you're a big Finding Nemo fan, right?
I am, of course.
You've heard that about how Defending Your Life made that movie happen? Have you?
No, but now I'm interested.
So originally, William H. Macy did the voice, and it was so bad that Disney was no longer interested in purchasing Pixar because they knew it was going to fail, and they were going to let Pixar's price drop, and then they were going to purchase Pixar. And so they went back and I don't know how they did it, but they took some of the lines from Defending Your Life and put that in the dad voice and said, this is how, the dad in Finding Nemo should be. And I think they go through this in the documentary a little bit. But because of that, Albert Brooks decided to sign on, and Finding Nemo ended up being one of the better Pixar movies because of it.
That's fascinating. I had no idea about that. Thank you, Albert Brooks.
I had never seen Defending Your Life prior to last week, so I think that does help. I understand what you're saying. When you oversee something, you're no longer able to watch it for what it is. It's just what your nostalgia and memory has. Yeah.
Now, if Jeff Marshall is listening to this, the movie blogger that, I don't know if you still chat with him, you guys at all, but we know that he's such a Meryl Streep fan as well. And he absolutely adores that movie. And so once again, I'm shitting on a Meryl Streep movie, but I'm sorry, Uncle Jeff. But after all, I just can't handle that one. Albert Brooks, that's a major loss right there. He could have been playing delightful character actors to the end of his days, and I guess he did, but I wish they had lasted a lot longer.
Now I have a question. If we're replacing Albert Brooks or Bill Murray with Albert Brooks, does that mean, I had dinner at the Caddyshack, the Murray Brothers Caddyshack on Sunday. Does that mean that he gets that too? Because that's going to be a whole different setup.
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about Caddyshack. I was really thinking of Groundhog Day more than anything.
I think you can change as well. But
I want to share a memory about the show.
All right.
The first time I was ever on the show was to talk about the best horror movie that ever was, and that's Black Christmas. Which I'm currently in the middle of making a poster for Black Christmas to have at an event where Lynn Griffin, who played Claire, the lady with the bag on her head, will be in attendance, along with the movie Curtains, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. That'd be a good January classic. The But yeah, it's like the 600th episode, and I'm still hung up on Black Christmas. So,
No,
if you guys want to come and see it in Chicago, and on the 2nd, I'll be there.
I will be on a work trip.
One thing we haven't talked about with Josh here is that there have been several time travel movies since the last time you were here, Josh, including, I don't know if you've probably not seen this one, but Totally Killer is a pretty terrific time travel horror.
Yeah, I didn't. However, I did see how effusive you guys were about that one, and it is currently in my watch list. That's something I actually kind of want to watch with my son because we are bonkers for that type of movie.
Of course, we still have the full bonus episode that is it's probably in the regular feed now. Just what was it, 2 or 3 parts that we did on time travel? It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember. We spent a lot of time on it. A lot of rules.
I remember the amount of research that Josh brought with him was incredible.
Oh, the time travel episode. How many edits did you make on that one? I would love to, have some time travel involved to go back and re-record that without certain guests. Yeah, that was good times, though.
I don't even know where it's at. It's out there somewhere. Let's see. Any other memories that you guys want to bring up or talk about?
Josh, have you seen any erotic shoulders lately?
Yeah, Florence Pugh in Oppenheimer. I was just talking about this over the weekend where it is difficult for me at age 44 now. If I have seen a young woman as a child actor at any point as an adult, I can't go with the attractiveness part. So there's a lineup of young ladies that are rather significant right now in Hollywood. You could go, Dakota Fanning, Elle Fanning, those two, Chloe Grace Moretz. Yeah, all of these folks that we're thinking of, including, who did we literally? Florence Pugh. It's just not something that I can say like, wow, she's one of my favorite, best looking actors. To me, at this point, they're all children, and they're all my children for that matter. And so, therefore, Florence Pugh on screen, she's a beautiful woman, and I find myself wanting, however, for my eyes to turn away from it. I don't know what that means, other than I'm officially middle-aged, full parent mode, and feeling bad about any sort of attractiveness of somebody that was once underage.
Well, luckily for me,
she does have beautiful, sexy shoulders, though.
Luckily for me, Freddie Highmore just isn't fuckable. That should be the title of this episode.
Wow.
Well,
Freddie Highmore. Wow, that takes me back. Return to Neverland? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best part of Josh's comment there is Cillian Murphy's older than us, and he's the love interest of Florence Pugh in Oppenheimer.
Wait, who's older than us?
Cillian Murphy, isn't he? He's in his 50s,
oh, yes,
isn't he?
yes. Yeah, he is.
No, I'm with you though. I can't. There was a trailer that played before Thanksgiving. I want to say the actress, I don't even know who she is, Sydney Sweeney or something like that.
Yes.
And I was just like, this movie is just, my wife and I were just watching, I'm like, we're too old for this. Like, this is not something we can watch and enjoy ever.
So how do you guys feel about Euphoria?
Didn't watch it as much as I tried to watch one episode. I'm like, I just can't do this. Too young. I didn't watch the Lily Rose Depp one, whatever show that was. Yeah, I can't do it.
Well, as I think we're wrapping up here, but Josh, is there something that you're looking forward to that hasn't come out yet that you've got your eye on?
Well, I was really hoping that Saltburn would be around. That trailer, it does it for me. Both of the trailers that I've seen, in fact, do it for me. And Barry Keoghan, am I saying that right, Sean? I go to you for these things.
I think it's Keegan, but I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's Keegan.
But yeah, I'm very interested in that one. I'm very interested in the wrap up of the DC universe with Aquaman. For whatever reason, I'm excited about it. Beyond that, you'd probably have to throw out a few more movies for me to remember, honestly. I haven't seen a lot of trailers. It's not something I've kept up a whole bunch on. And so I know that I've missed some things.
Dream Scenario, Poor Things. I'm just looking.
The Yorgos Lanthimos thing is not my thing. We talked about how I dislike the lobster and killing of a sacred deer, but Poor Things, the trailer for that, actually, I kind of dig it. And so I would be interested in seeing that.
What about Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage?
Throw some more titles out.
Bob was asking you about Dream Scenario, the new Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh, I have no idea about that one. Is that where he's bald?
He's
or
bald?
Is that
He's appearing in people's dreams. He's a regular guy, college professor who, for some reason, keeps popping up in various different strangers' dreams.
So Freddy.
They make that joke in the trailer, actually.
less attractive Freddy Krueger.
All right. Well, that means I'm going to go watch the trailer as soon as we're done, for the heck of it. Nicolas Cage is always exciting, even when he is full-on CGI Nicolas Cage. That was exciting.
What about The Sound of Freedom?
I don't know. It's a little too woke for Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, a faith-based film with the wokest fucking historical figure of all time, Jesus, being involved, I'm sure that would piss a lot of people off. No, I don't ever plan on seeing it. However, if I was challenged to, for whatever reason, to provide some sort of, dead-on analysis of it, then sure I would. But in the meantime, for everything that is said about agendas, et cetera, I think that one pretty much has a very specific agenda. And speaking to child trafficking and everything, if you listen to a lot of professionals, they say that this is the kind of thing that actually hurts their cause. And I would prefer to let people that know what they're talking about do the talking on such a serious subject and stop letting bullies do all of the talking. So do I plan on seeing Sound of Freedom? Fuck no.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I don't have any other titles. I don't really know what's coming out either. I usually find out at the last minute.
A couple things, I guess, just to wrap up, though. But there's a couple things that I would hope to get your opinion on it eventually, Josh. Like Air, I was not a fan of Air, but I know, Bob, I think you were a fan of it, right? We're both you and Jeff are fans of that one, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm a huge fan of Creed 3, and I'm hoping to get more people to watch and enjoy.
I'm boycotting Creed 3.
No Sly? Boycott?
I mean, I'm half kidding, but I really haven't seen it. I don't know. I'm just lost a little interest in it, but
saw it in January, still in my top 10.
Seriously?
Okay. I haven't seen Creed 3, but I do plan on it. I'm not attempting any sort of boycott of it. But, oh shoot, what was the other one you mentioned? I'm sorry.
Air.
Okay, I did see that, and I did enjoy it. There is a little bit something missing about it, but it also just kind of hit the right nerve as, I mean, not everybody's a sports fan, per se, but that one hit a particular nerve of when I started to come around to what sports was about. I was also, heavily sucked into the whole idea of Jordans and shoes and what that meant, the status of it, etc., and to see how that came together, so to speak, and how they played service to the things that we knew in the public. And I don't know, there was something kind of just neat about the movie. And for something that was mainly a streaming release, which I usually associate with slightly lesser quality, I was still sort of a fan of this.
Well, that came out the same weekend as Mario Brothers too, so it's just a bunch of nostalgia because both movies captured the 80s really, really well. But that's cool.
I can't believe it's time to start thinking about our top 10 already.
I'll have to be like, knock 'em. I know I'll be, Sean, have I seen this? What did I think on the show?
I got to think if anything is going to knock Megan off.
Is that this year?
Yeah, that was one of our first episodes. We were talking about that.
That was good.
Yeah, no, it's Past Lives, Beau Was Afraid, and Oppenheimer for me. But Josh, where are you? I know you've seen fewer movies, but what is the best movie you've seen in 2023?
Well, the thing is, it kind of, although I saw it, I think in late February, early March. The movie Paul Mescal was up for Best Actor, and it was for last year's Oscars.
Sun.
A24 movie?
Yeah, After Sun.
After Sun. That's the best thing that I've seen this year. It just happens to be.
I fucking knew you were going to love that.
Oh, woo. Actually, that one right up there with The Road for my son and I. We really connected on that particular one. Oh, man, I could probably talk about that one for a while. I won't. But in terms of the 2023 movies, let me go back to my other layer. I've got all the stuff that I've
go into a shoe room now.
Yeah. I would say at this point, The Killer is probably the best current 2023 movie I've seen. And that's not necessarily fair because the newer stuff has really been, I've seen popular stuff. Oppenheimer would probably be number 2.
Yeah, I recommend Infinity Pool. That was pretty good. I'm trying to look at all the good movies that came out this year that I remember. No Hard Feelings was fun. I don't know if it's a top 10 though.
My top 10 is going to be your guys' bottom 10 probably. Like, I don't care. I'm here to bring.
I hate Megan that much.
I love Megan. It might be at the bottom of my top 10. Dead Air, sorry.
Josh, go see.
Actually, you know what? Another one that I really feel that I should bring up is Talk to Me. I think I would put that in my top 5. I really enjoyed that. I don't remember what you guys thought of it, but I mean, hey, it's A24 and it's slightly effective, at least on a scary level for me.
I think we all liked it.
Yeah, I think we liked that one quite a bit.
Top 20.
And let's see, They Cloned Tyrone. I caught that one. I really enjoyed that. It was just weird enough to get me attached to it. And I don't know if all of you saw that or perhaps just Sean.
No, actually, I didn't get a chance to see that one.
The Pope's Exorcist.
Jamie Foxx and Boyega and Tiana Paris lead that one. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5.
Did you see Cocaine Bear, Josh?
I didn't. I relied on my son's review of that, and he said, nah. Yeah, as much as we were looking forward to it based on the trailer, his experience of it was, yeah, it's brutal at times, but it's pretty stupid.
But it was a lot of fun.
It was awesomely stupid. But at the same time...
And I got to see the movie and the actual Cocaine Bear stuffed at Scarefest this year.
Stuffed?
Yeah, I'll post a picture of it in the group because, yeah, the actual bear, the actual Cocaine Bear was at Scarefest. because it was in Kentucky, and it's at a roadside attraction. I don't remember where. I remember listening to the My Favorite Murder podcast, and they talked about that whole episode. And then they did bring up where it was, and I don't remember, but I got to actually see the actual cocaine bear.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool. You don't necessarily run into something like that every day.
Not often you meet celebrities.
I do. I met a bunch this weekend.
But nothing the level of cocaine bear.
Do you guys want to hear an absolutely bonkers fucking story about this weekend? Okay, so have you guys seen the movie Terror Train? Not the remake that came out last year, but the original Jamie Lee Curtis Terror Train?
I've still never seen it.
Okay. We have to do that as a classic then sometimes. So Derek McKinnon, who was a drag performer who was in this movie, who, spoiler alert, played the killer, was supposed to appear at Days of the Dead this weekend in Chicago. I kind of acquainted with the person who does a lot of the Friday the 13th people and was getting him for the show. Well, he didn't show up because he apparently had passport problems. That's what Stacy said. So I posted on my Instagram, I was all set up for Days of the Dead, and I just hashtagged the movie Terror Train because I did a print for it, hoping that I could get him to sign it, because that's my thing, is having my own artwork signed. Well, he didn't show up, and I woke up the next morning in my Airbnb, and I was just scrolling through Instagram, and I had a couple messages. And one of the messages, or somebody had asked if he was there, and I said no, he canceled. And a lady messaged me and said, "Oh, well, yeah, because I think he's dead." And
what?
people are impersonating him. Now, I said this to Stacy, who is the person who gets him for the show, and she said, "No, I talked to him like today." Then, are you guys familiar with Luca Magnotta? Did you ever see the Don't Fuck with Cats on Netflix?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he's the guy who killed the Chinese student on camera with an ice pick and then sent his body parts to politicians in Canada. Cool. Well, this guy who thinks that he was framed said that he believes that Derek McKinnon, who lived in the same building as Luca Magnotta, may have framed him and has been murdered, and he knows who the murderer is. So we got to do Terror Train so I can give you guys an update about that story. I looked at my friend Merle, and I'm like, "Have you ever heard something so crazy?" She goes, "Never in my life." So
we don't know if this guy's dead or not?
Well, according to Stacy, he's alive and well. He just doesn't do a lot of conventions. But according to random people on my Instagram sliding into my DMs, he's either a murderer, he framed somebody for murder who actually confessed and did it all on screen, or he's been murdered, or he just died and people are impersonating him.
And what's his name?
Derek McKinnon. The last convention he was at was in 2011. But I know people who said that they have seen him. They live in Canada and he's out and about. So just an absolute bonkers little aside that I had to share with you guys.
That is wild.
He's not dead yet.
Not yet. Hey, you know what? That movie takes place on New Year's Eve. We should do that as a classic for one of the last shows.
Perfect. Or one of the first shows.
To watch it. To be forced to watch it, Sean.
All right. Anything else before we call tonight?
Thank you, Josh. We love you. It's always wonderful to see you. You're such an important part of the show, and I often think, when I'm watching a movie, what would Josh think of this? And during After Sun, I was like, this is a movie that Josh is going to love. I actually did think about messaging you when I watched that because.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you all for having me on in sincerity, and congratulations on making it to this particular milestone. And I mean, I don't think you can possibly picture yet the accomplishment of what this podcast has actually been. There have been a lot of podcasts across the country that do film reviews, but who has the history of this and who dedicates their time and their efforts and everything? You should be really proud about what you've done. So aside from all that sappy bullshit, I also think of you guys every time that I watch something. I wonder, especially if it's a cheesy horror film, I'm thinking of Jeff, and if it's super gory, I'm wondering, like, if it's torture porn, I'm like, oh, what would Bob think about this one?
Found the torture porn guy.
Yeah, basically. Well, Ben keeps wanting to watch the Rob Zombie stuff, and I'm like, listen, hold on a second.
The Devil's Rejects begins and ends there. That's it.
And that's kind of what I said. I said, Bob, likes this and this and this, but etc. And Sean, anytime that there is something that is on the level of what After Sun is, or what High Fidelity is, or something that I know that you will get, that I feel like not many folks get, I think of what would Sean think, and I seek out a lot of your reviews. So keep doing what you're doing, please, so that I have a continual backlog of like 100 episodes that I need to get to.
Well, at any point, if you feel like you see something and you want to pop on, please don't worry about. I mean, please say, hey, I'm interested in popping on. You don't have to wait for the invite, but we'll definitely make sure to invite you at least once a year, if not more than that. It's always good to have you back on.
We can do an Ahsoka retrospective Patreon episode. We can watch the shows and do like recaps.
Bob is on vacation for the next 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, I'm gone for 2 weeks. So if you want to.
That sounds fantastic. Anything Star Wars you ever want to do, by all means.
Oh, you guys are talking about Star Wars again?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody. This was fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.